Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Rosemary Kayward, the Child Nutrition Outreach Coordinator for Central and Western Mass. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for the Meals Close to Home partnerships with successful partnerships with housing properties for the Summer Meals Program. Just a few housekeeping items. If you could take a minute now to mute your line. If you go to the round circle where it has your initials and name and just press on the microphone icon, that will mute your line. And also hold all questions until the end of the webinar, but you can enter your questions. One moment. You can enter your questions using the chat box at the top of your screen. Okay, today during this 1-hour webinar, we will provide an overview of the Summer Food Service Program and HUD properties, as well as hear a few success stories from folks currently involved in the program in Massachusetts. In Massachusetts, there are 400,000 students who receive healthy meals during the school year through the National School Lunch Program, as well as the School Breakfast Program. The Summer Food Service Program was established to fill the nutrition gap during the summer. Through community partnerships, healthy meals are provided to children and teens 18 years old and younger, eligible locations across the country. This program enables children to receive the nutrition they need to stay healthy and active during the summer and return to school ready to learn. Okay, just a quick overview of the program, including key players and how the program works. So the key players that enable this program to happen involve entities from the federal, state, regional, and local level. The program is administered at the federal level by the Food and Nutrition Service, an agency of the United States Department of Agriculture. This department decides overall program policy, publishes regulations, and payment rates. Within each state, the program is administered by the State Department of Education or an alternate state designated agency. For Massachusetts, it is the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. They receive and approve sponsors who operate the program at the local level. This includes training and monitoring of sponsors' programs. The sponsor is a public or nonprofit organization that provides the meals which meet federal nutrition guidelines set by the USDA and receive reimbursements from the state agency. Sponsors assume all responsibility of operating the program. Example sponsors in Massachusetts and across the country include schools, community organizations, youth clubs, and churches. Sponsors partner with local locations in the community called a site. A site is a physical location where meals are distributed in eligible areas or to specific groups of children. Delivery of meals is arranged by the sponsor, who trains and monitors the site for program integrity. For the program to reach as many children and teens as possible, these 4 players need community partners to promote the program, provide activities, or volunteer at the site to help with serving meals. At the federal level, this is organizations like Feeding America. At the state level, it is organizations like Project Bread. At the local level, it is groups like Community Action or health centers who share information to the people they serve about how to find a site. So here are the sponsors, and the sites are local ways in Massachusetts that folks can get involved in the program. Okay, just a little bit about site eligibility. The 2 most common sites are open and closed enrolled sites. An open site is a location where any child 18 and younger can receive a free meal, no questions asked. The eligibility for this type of site is determined by school and census data, where at least 50% of children are eligible for free and reduced price meals. A enrolled site is a location that serves meals to an enrolled group of children, and the eligibility for this type of site is determined by household applications and school data. There are a few other types of sites that have different requirements, and I encourage you to explore the eligibility for yours if you're considering being a site with the Child Nutrition Outreach Program. And with that, once the eligibility is set for a site, that eligibility is stays for 5 years. Okay, just a short introduction to non-traditional sites, which includes housing properties. The Child Nutrition Outreach Program started outreach to non-traditional sites a few years ago to provide access to in more locations, beyond traditional sites like schools and parks. Non-traditional sites include WIC offices, farmers markets, and libraries. In the past 3 years, sites at non-traditional sites have substantially increased. Sites at libraries have more than doubled in the last 3 years. This year, CNUP, or the Child Nutrition Outreach Program, has partnered with HUD to increase awareness of the opportunity for housing properties to be involved in the program. There are many housing properties already participating in the program. Just this last year, in summer 2017, there were 60 housing properties participating. This goes to show how well the housing properties and work with this program. For between 2015 and 2017, sites at housing properties served meals to over 1,400 children each day during the month of July. But we haven't even begun to tap the potential of these sites at housing properties. In Massachusetts, there are 33 housing authorities operating 155 properties and 142 multifamily properties managing over 341 properties.
All the way to here.
These properties are not currently participating in the program. This comes to a total of 496 potential new for the Summer Meals Program. And with that, I'm going to introduce Erin Martinez, who is going to provide an overview of the HUD and the work we are doing with them. Erin has worked for Bridge International and the Open Learning Exchange, an open source educational project. Also did Peace Corps in Bulgaria from 2010 to 2012 and graduated from Brandeis University with a Master's in Sustainable International Development. Thank you so much, Erin, for joining us this afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for that amazing introduction, Rosemary. It's truly a great honor and a pleasure to work with you and all our stakeholders on this initiative. I've worked on the Summer Foods Program for about 2 years now, and I've worked with some tremendous individuals. At first, to start out as 2 individuals, Andrea Hayes and myself. And let me tell you, the first year was a huge learning curve in figuring out how we were going to set a foundation of excellence was our thought process from the beginning. Now our team has grown. We recently added Taylor, Min, Jessica, and Lewis, who have been instrumental in the way we are moving forward. So you see our goals and traditional values of affordable housing for all and serving our communities and building relationships is something we at HUD take seriously. Let's go to the first slide, please. Hello? Hello? First slide, please. Our core mission at HUD is community building and focusing on more sustainable and affordable housing for families. We understand that the younger generation is a generation of change, and we must take the time to not only give support for the Summer Foods Program, but make sure it's sustainable. Slide 2, please. We currently have 7 field offices, and each play a major role in how we operate day-to-day business at HUD. However, the two major players on the Summer Foods Program initiative is multifamily and public Indian housing. Our programs are very similar in some forms of how we determine our projects. Number 3, please, number 3. As we can see in the chart of the Northeast region, administrates 7,885 affordable housing properties. Our target market for the Summer Food Program is families in the low socioeconomic areas as well as rural areas. Andrea played a key part with the GIS tracking tools to find the properties that fit these criteria. Slide number 4, please. HUD works with many housing authorities in the New England area, and some of them work with resident service coordinators that help residents in the properties and also helps to plan activities. It is our goal to reach out to as many RSCs as possible to help bring the Summer Foods Program to those eligible properties. It's a work in progress, but we are doing our best to get the most and current information possible. Majority of our properties who are eligible or sponsoring the Summer Foods Programs come from our 202 programs, 811 programs that receive some type of Section 8, most likely using housing vouchers or tax credits, aka nonprofits. We also have market rate properties that receive some sort of HUD assistance that could be a possible site for the Summer Foods Program. Slide number 5, please. I'm very excited to announce that the Summer Foods Program has made it into our national letterhead, or national newsletter. We are getting more volunteers on board with the important initiatives. Lastly, I'm personally excited to work with all of our stakeholders in making this a successful initiative. And I think the last slide is our national newsletter. Yep, there it is. And thank you. I appreciate it.
Great. Thank you so much, Aaron. It has been a delight to work with the HUD team as well, and we are so thankful for your expertise in this initiative.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce Christina Gonzalez. Christina Gonzalez is the current Youth Program and Pantry Coordinator at the Spanish American Center. She's managed the summer feeding program for 5 years and continues to play a pivotal role in building relationships with community and professionals to sustain the program. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, Christina.
Okay, am I all set? Hello, everyone.
Yep, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Christina Gonzalez, Spanish American Center. Thank you for having me. We're going to go to the next slide. Okay, so I'm not sure if any of you were at the kickoff that we had, but unfortunately this year, aside from the good work that we've been doing, our program is facing some difficulties because of the partnerships we've had in relation to some of the housing authority some of the housing authorities in Gardner. But aside from that, this past year we had a really great participation level, especially Old English Village. We've been serving them for 5 years, and that's one of the housing authorities that we are continuing to build with and hope that we will continue with this year. With the loss of the Mount and the Gear Up funding, that's really affected how we are going to go about feeding that site, but we are working with MOC, so community partners are very important in sustaining these partnerships. Just wanted to highlight that. If we can go to the next one. It's very important to build relationships, and as you can see here, we staffed a lot of our programs with other organizations that were able to staff people, such as the Mount, which is the Montechusett Opportunity Council, My Turn, and the Attorney General's Office. So, again, none of this is possible alone. We need others to join in on this mission and getting the word out to people. Thank you. Community partners, again, I think that's just the main key thing I want to highlight, especially having, a congressman or a state representative join you in your mission to build these relationships and just to kind of give you that backing. I think a lot of times people are willing to open the doors when they see who is willing to support you as an organization, and let the work speak for itself as well. Okay. Again, it takes a team to put this together. We are a very small organization, but people want to see the good continue happening in the community. So we have 3 volunteers that cook on a daily basis. We have 3 drivers that volunteer on their time. And, you know, this time can never be given back to them, but they know how good the work is and what it does for our community, especially during the summertime. We've outreached anywhere and everywhere we can. Currently, we have a newsletter that we started, and we also have our Facebook page that is up and running. If anyone wants to check out the page and see how we go about that, feel free to do that at the Spanish American Center, Leominster. Grocery stores, laundromats, apartments, newsletters, parks, anywhere you know a family will be or passing is very important. Word of mouth. I also tabled and did presentations at schools during the months of May, and they were very open to us speaking to all their students. So if you go to the schools and ask them, they will be willing. And on another note, I just actually had a private school, Johnny Appleseed, reach out to me because they themselves are going to be hosting an event tomorrow where all community programs are asked to table so that their students have a place to go this summer. So everyone is collaborating on a number of different levels and outreaching. Next slide. And again, I think success happens because of collaboration, leverage fundings, and making sure the numbers at your sites are really where they need to be. And the challenges are always going to be the decrease in funds, which we are currently facing. But we are working on that situation. And, we never want to have less sites. We always want to aim for more. So, again, collaboration and partnerships is, I think, the foundation of making those things happen. I hope my information was helpful. If anybody has any questions, you can find me at the Spanish American Center.
Great. Thank you so much, Christina. I think the Spanish American Center and the work that Christina does with Nettie and Mickey is a great example for sponsors to follow, as well as sites in building relationships with housing properties and partners in the community to support the sites at housing properties. Thank you so much, Christina, for sharing from your experience. Next, I would like to introduce Violet Matos, who is currently the Assistant Property Manager at Meadowbrook Apartments in Florence. When the site was launched a couple of years ago, Violet was the Residential Service Coordinator at Meadowbrook Apartments. She has over 30 years of experience in social service field. As I said, she is now the Assistant Property Manager, and this summer of 2018 will be the 3rd year for the Summer Mill sites at Meadowbrook Apartments. Violet, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. Next slide. So, like Marie said, we're going on our 3rd year with this lunch program, and it's my pet, and I don't think I could let it go even as an assistant property manager. It's such a great program. But here at Meadowbrook, we are a community, affordable housing community of 252 units that houses a total of about 480 residents. Meadowbrook is a large property, obviously, and it has 2 playgrounds. It has a large community room and plenty of space to distribute lunches to the kids. We're considered as an open site, so this past year we were able to get folks, from the outside of the property, not only from the inside but from the outside of the property as well. So we have summer lunch programs throughout our portfolio. We have several of them, actually, and they've been very, very successful. Some of our collaborating sponsors are actually our sponsor is Amherst Pelham Regional School, and they have been great. They have a phenomenal team over there that works very well with us and accommodates us with anything that we need to run this program. The Northampton Police Department got involved this past summer with their trading card program. They used to come during the lunch hour and provide cards. They traded cards with the kids. They had a wonderful program this summer where, the first 10 kids that collected 50 cards would get a ride in their cruiser on the first day of school, which was kind of cool. We had also the summer reading program here. We had a collaboration with the YMCA, and they had some volunteers that came and read to the group, to the group that were here during the lunch hour. Also, Lee School had another reading program that assisted kids that were having trouble during the school year, and so that they won't lose some of that the learning that they were getting during the school year. They provided extra reading services and any deficiency that a child was having during the school year, they would assist them during the summer months as well, and they would do it also here in our community center. The program was also, we had a lot of volunteers that came throughout the year. We actually had stipend residents that helped. We had Community Action Summer Youth Program. We had a youth worker that also volunteered and helped us during this process this summer as well, and during the lunch program. In 2016 was the first year that we started the program, and that first year we were only given 1 month, which is the month of July, and for the month of July we served 714 meals. Last year, which was our second year, we were also doing it for just 1 month, the month of July, and we were able to serve 816 children meals for that month. This year, the Amherst Pelham Regional Schools is thinking to expanding it. So they're thinking to expand it like 1 week before the 4th of July and extend it to 2 weeks into August. Hopefully we can make that happen this year. Next slide. So some of the new things that we want to do this year is some of the new collaborations that we want to have this year, new programming in the summer for the kids is fitness and health activities. We want to do run nutrition programs in conjunction with our lunch program and the summer reading program. And our goal and focus here at Meadowbrook is more family engagement and more parent involvement. We want to see more parents come with their children and have lunches and sit down with them and engage on the programming that we have throughout that hour of lunch, and even extend it afterwards as well. As you can see in some of these pictures, we have Officer Wallace was reading to the children. This was after the lunch hour. Officer Wallace would come to the property twice a week, and he would engage with the kids. The kids loved him. It was an awesome experience for them as well. Next slide. And this is a comment from actually one of our moms. And actually it was the mom of the little baby drinking milk at the bottom there of the screen. And this is such an amazing program, and I support it 100%. And anybody who is interested or just thinking about it, I would say just move forward with it, because it's so rewarding. And to hear comments like, how there's a mother who's a single mother who struggles between, paying her rent or doing groceries, especially when you have kids, at home all summer long, to hear stories like this, that this program really helped that mom, it makes it all we do. It's why we do what we do, it makes it worth, the effort, worth it just makes it worth the effort. So just hearing that, it helps a lot of people. It's just so rewarding. I think that's it.
Great, Violet. Thank you so much for sharing from your experience. I think we can see from Violet's experience how critical this program is for the children at housing properties who may not have access to transportation to get to other programs within the community. And I love what Violet has done at the site at Meadowbrook Apartments with the partnerships with community organizations like the Northampton Police Department and Community Action to not only serve the meals to the children, but also offer programming to continue learning throughout the summer. Next, I would like to introduce Robin Hubert. Robin Hubert has been working in the Human Services field for 15 years. She is a Resident Activities Director and Service Coordinator at Davis Commons Apartments in Brockton. Robin has a bachelor's in psychology with a minor in early childhood education. Previously to being a RAD or RSD, Robin was an early Head Start home visitor, an EMT, a program director for the YMCA Rage Teen Outreach in New Bedford, Massachusetts, and a middle school English and history teacher for a private school in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Robin, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. As you can see, I come from Davis Commons. That's in Brockton, Massachusetts. And we're run under First Realty Management. And so along with being a resident service coordinator, I'm also a RAD, which is Resident Activities Director. So it's sort of unique to First Realty Management. They really like to focus on breaking the cycle of poverty. So they created my position in order to reach out to the children of the site and have allowed us to do the summer meals program here and have allowed us to have other children come here as well. So we're an open site. Next slide. Next, please. So a little bit about my program. We're partially funded by a HUD Youth RAP grant, which is really helpful. So we can do lots of cool things with the kids. Our tenants do have to income qualify, as do most programs like this. And I provide services for all the ages here, for elderly, you know, every age range. And the majority of the kids that come see me are, the majority of the people that come see me are children. I do connect a lot with the nonprofit and outreach agencies and bring them in to provide services and help the tenants with needs. So we also offer a free after-school open enrollment program. And with that, they have to be ages 6 and up. They can't be over 17. Once they get over 17, we can hire them to be assistants. We can do some other ways if they want to continue to come down here. And we provide homework help, and all of our activities focus around art and STEM, community awareness projects. We started a Scout program here. We're going to be starting a Girl Scout program here as well, so we'll have dual. And then we offer the summer lunch program. And our company, First Realty Management, requires us to also participate in company-wide events, such as our Sports and Academic Olympiad, where we compete against other sites that also have RADs. We participate a lot in the NEMA programming, and one of their big ones is the drug-free poster contest. So anyone who is in affordable housing can participate in this drug-free poster contest, and they have a lot of really nice incentives that go along with it. And if anyone's interested or needs some information, just shoot me an email and I'll get you the information. They also offer scholarships to our residents here, and they're up to $2,500 a person that wins the scholarship. And we also do an honor roll club. Next slide, please. That little bulldog on the page before was one of my summer interns drew that for us, so that's our little mascot. Anyway, so we're on a really nice spread out community. We have a lot of green space. We have conservation lands. We have 200 units and 605 residents. Unfortunately, only 15 to 30 kids come down a day, which for our sites, that's a lot. But I've been trying to reach out to more and more kids. So my numbers have been increasing, but they do fluctuate drastically. We have a very large community center. I'm very lucky. We have a computer learning center, art center. We have air hockey. They just broke my foosball table. And we have a rugged area. I offer a preschool time for families to come down with their kids and play in our preschool area. We have Legos, a dollhouse, just about everything you need. And probably about 95% of the things I have here I've gotten donated. I've been very, very lucky. Next slide, please. So here's some pictures of my center. You'll see the air hockey table the kids really like. We actually, on another wall, have a basketball hoop for a little Nerf basketball. I'll tell you, Nerf basketball, any type of basketball, brings that 13 to 16-year-old age group down, and it keeps them out of trouble. And that's the new playground they just installed in January. That's why there's no kids on it. Next slide. So we serve lunch around 1. I tried doing it earlier in the past, and the kids typically do not come down until after, a little bit after 1, and their favorite lunches are the wraps and fruit cups. We still continue to do sort of like the after-school program. I offer art and STEM, programming and outdoor games every day. And even for the summer, even a child that doesn't live here is welcome to come. As I had said, we're an open site, and you can see that. They call me their double mom, which at first I was a little offended, but then when they explained, it's because I was a mom at home and a mom to them. Next, please. So a lot of people ask why we do a summer food program. I know of a lot of sites who choose not to do it. And honestly, the biggest reason why we do it here is we know that families struggle to feed their children during the summer months, as Violet had mentioned in her slides from her mom's comment. They also lack the funds to participate in summer programming. A lot of them do get scholarships, but it's a week. And the rest of them, the kids are here by themselves. They don't have a lot of supervision. Their parents aren't able to cook them nutritious foods. The parents may lack transportation to bring them to program sites. And where we're situated in Brockton, like I said, we're surrounded by woods. What roads that we do have that lead to our site don't really have good sidewalks, and they're very heavily traveled. So it works out really, really well for the kids and the families that we can provide this. And when you provide food, you build a connection, and it builds a sense of community in our little Davis Commons. Those are some of my kids at Bottom last summer. Next, please. This is another picture from our Sports Olympiad. The kids here at Davis Commons win often. Most of those little plaques on that trophy are theirs, and we have lots of trophies to show for it. They really come together as a community for competitions. So again, if you're thinking of doing a summer food program, it really, really is a great way to bond and build a sense of community with the children, starting with the children, and then the parents really begin to appreciate it and appreciate where they live. Again, it gives on-site children something to do. It engages the young people, keeps them out of trouble. It truly does. Builds a bridge of trust and civility, and it just creates ties that bind. Next, please. So we do have, everyone has obstacles. A lot of people ask me, well, what about behavioral issues? And, as long as you set firm guidelines and be kind, like it's a simple rewards and kind statements, and lead by example. If you're kind over being punitive, they respect you a lot more, especially these younger kids that come in and the boys in those teenage years. And they really enjoy being here, as long as they know that you're thinking of their best interest. Next slide, please. So our other obstacle, it's a little one, but I'm sure it happens to a lot of people, is the adult participation. So at our site, we're not allowed to serve adults. Other sites, they can, the sponsors can allow, if they're going to purchase the meals, they can allow the adults to do so, or the sponsor may purchase meals for them and not get reimbursed. So in order for me to get around that small problem is I started a small food pantry in our kitchen. So any adults that come down and want to actually eat with their children, I have a full kitchen. They're welcome to our food pantry, and it's stocked by local scout groups and churches and schools. Next, please. So one more thing. So enhancing your program. If you're already doing a summer lunch program, you might consider adding breakfast. This is something we're going to start doing here, and we'll see how we do. And let's see. And the other thing really big, and I mentioned it a few slides ago, was reaching out to your nonprofit community action agencies. And I have a whole list here that I won't read through, but a lot of them are looking for volunteer opportunities. A couple hours here or there. Project Bread came and visited us last summer. It was a great day. The kids absolutely loved it. We played lots of games outside. We're actually in that picture of theirs in the beginning. But if you reach out to the area community action agencies, a lot of times they're more than happy to come down and lend a hand. Also, if you reach out to corporate or corporate donations and franchises, and as you can see, I listed some. A lot of times they'll give away free food, donuts, pizza, whatever. They're more than happy to help out a affordable housing program. And social media. I'm only on Facebook right now because all the rest of them, there's a lot. But the kids love Snapchat, and they keep telling me to open it up. It's a good way to get the teenagers to come down here. Next, please. Just some more pictures. As you can see, the bottom left, we took them to Canopy Lake through the NEMA poster contest. This year they're taking them to George's Island off the coast of Boston. In the middle, those boys that are bandaged up, they were participating in a first aid class with Boy Scouts. And you can see some STEM projects. They were learning how to whittle soap in the top, and we were doing some minute to win it prizes, and we give away a lot of school supplies. That was that program at the top right. Next, please. And that's our Project Bread Fun Day. And we also had HUD, I believe, as well. That's my son with the blue hat. He came down to volunteer for the day as well. Next, please. And just one more thing. You know, it's we had a resident that came down and gave us some backpacks, and I gave them out, and one of them was still here, and I decided to look through it and see like what she had given, because she put like notebook, pens and pencils, things like that. But she put this little card, the polka dot one that says always be your best self, and I just thought, wow, what a wonderful thing that this lady did for the kids. And I feel like that's not a message just for the kids, it's for us too. So, you know, just take that into consideration. One of my children, I don't know if you can read it in the bottom right, wrote, treat others with respect, no matter what their past was like. And I thought that was a really wonderful, deep meaning place that came from. And the little girl who wrote that was 10. And I thought that was amazing. So, you know, choose to be kind, choose to give, and choose to care. So if you're on the fence and you're not sure whether you want to do a summer food program, it's totally worth it. Thank you very much, and I hope that my presentation encourages others to participate in the summer food program.
Great, Robin. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. I think from Robin's presentation as well as Violet's presentation, we can see how critical the residential service coordinator is for this program and building relationships with the families and building those partnerships with organizations in the community to offer programs. That was great, very inspiring. I think we can also see from the pictures of Davis Commons what kind of spaces work really well to provide an inviting space for children to stay and enjoy the meal while being with the kids and under being with supervision from the site supervisor. So before we open up for questions, I just want to share a few resources and next steps. We put together a 2-page resource focused on meals close to home. And Brockton, the Davis Commons and Meadowbrook Apartments is actually featured in that, but we can send that out to you along with the slides today. I encourage you to look through it. Some great pointers on what kind of spaces work well, handling staffing and programming, and also engaging teens in this program. Also, we have outreach materials for people to use. This year, we actually introduced a statewide brand called Summer Eats. You can see the logo there on your screen. But if you would like some outreach materials, we are sending materials out to all sponsors. But you can also order materials through our webpage, mealsforkids.org. Those materials will be available around May and June. Also, I just want to point out 4 different ways that families can find us near them. There's an app called Summer Eats that folks can download on Apple and Android, as well as a texting service, both in Spanish and English. The number is 877-877. You can search our map on our Meals for Kids webpage or call the Food Source hotline that is hosted by Project Bread. Please note that this information for the sites won't be active until June, as sponsors are still actively recruiting and getting their programs together until late May, June. Also, I encourage you to sign up for our Fresh Focus e-newsletter to keep up to date on the program, resources, and some recipes from our Chef in Schools program. If you are new to the program and missed our Summer Meals 101 webinar back in February, you can listen to the webinar going to the page mealsforkids.org/webinars. This is a great resource to learn more, a broader overview of the Meals program, regulations, and how you can be involved. Lastly, I would just encourage you to reach out to CNOP. There's 3 outreach coordinators here for Eastern Mass, the North Shore, and Eastern and Western Mass, which is myself. If that's confusing, please just reach out to any one of us and we will take care of you. Now I would like to open up for any questions.
Violet, I had a question for you.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, Violet. Hi.
Hi.
I heard you talk about the trading card program with the police officer. What sort of trading cards were they collecting?
Well, actually, it was 50 featured police officers, including a canine dog and its trainer, and they would collect the first student or the first child that collected the 50 cards. They win different prizes, but the first one would win a ride to school. It was a huge thing here in Northampton. They were in the news and everything.
So that's so cool. So how did they purchase those cards? Like, how would they earn them?
They don't purchase them. They just go to the police department. Every week there was a featured police officer. So the police officers would hand the cards out, would sign them and hand the cards out to the kids. So the kids would collect them. And then as soon as the police officers will put it on their website where they're going to be stationed, and the kids can go to where the police officers are and collect their card.
That's so cool.
It is very cool. I thought it was really neat. And, like I said, the first child that reached the 50 cards got that ride. Others got, like, beach ball packages, gift bags and book bags. They gave a lot away for the kids. They do a lot of that because here in Northampton, unfortunately, the kids are afraid of, some of the kids are afraid of the police officers because when they respond to issues, it's always a bad thing. So they wanted to make themselves known here, especially to the kids. They wanted to see themselves in a positive light. And I thought that this was great. And they do a lot of community projects here too with the kids. At Look Park, they do summer programming for them as well. So they're always involved.
That's awesome.
That's a great question, and thank you for sharing more about that program and that partnership, Violet. Is there anyone else on the line that has another question for our speakers or for CNOP?
Hi, this is Jamita from Colonial Estates in Springfield. I had a question about, I noticed that a lot of each site that presented today had sponsors. Is there a cost share associated with this program?
Did you say a cost share?
Cost share, like what cost does it come to for the property, or is there a cost that's incurred?
Sure, great. Thank you for your question. There is no cost for the site. The sponsor is able to provide the meals to this program through reimbursements from the state. It is a federally funded program. So for the site, there is no cost, and they work with the sponsor to provide the meals each day and meal. Thank you for the question. Does anyone else have a question?
Hello?
Uh-huh.
I actually wanted to respond to the cost. Granted, there's no cost for the meals, but on average to run a site that, that we've ran in our community, it averages about $10,000 just because of the staffing and, to buy the items and other things of that sort. So I just kind of wanted to throw that in there just in case.
Sure. Thank you, Christine. And I think the cost of running the site for the sponsor will vary depending on the sponsor's program. But yeah, absolutely. But just to reiterate, for the site, there is no financial obligation. And for sponsors, hopefully the program will be fully funded through the reimbursements from the state.
Right. So for Davis Commons, there's no cost to us whatsoever. Our sponsor is the Brockton School Committee, or not school committee, the Brockton School Department, and we report to them. They come, they bring us the food. They do all the paperwork. They give us the paperwork to fill out how many children, how many meals were served, how many meals were consumed. And then we give the paperwork back to them at the end of the week and judge on what we're going to, or what we're going to use for the next week.
Great, thank you.
So, Rosemary, would you be the one to connect the site with the sponsor, or how does that connection happen?
We can absolutely do that. If you reach out to any one of us or just call the general number at the top of the screen, the 617 number, will help you out and help and identify how best you can be involved in the program, whether through being a site, possibly a sponsor, or being an outreach coordinator. Thank you for that question.
Don't feel bad. I never got mine either.
Any other questions? Okay, great. Well, if you think of questions after we wrap up this webinar, please feel free to reach out. And thank you so much for all of our speakers, Erin, Violet, Robin, and Christina, for your time this afternoon and for sharing your experience. I hope that the participants in the call got some good best practices and will explore next steps in being involved in this program for the summer of 2018. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.